Good morning everyone. Welcome to the basic training kitchen, that is the BTK. We move on to our next menu, and the special thing about this menu is that this is the first menu where you will be learning to make a fish preparation. So as usual, we'll have a look at the menu first. So the soup that we are making today is a lentil mulligatawny soup. The main course is fillet of pomfret meunière. The accompaniments are petit pois à la flamande and pomme de terre Duchess. These are your 4 dishes that we are going to make today. The soup that is there today, that is the lentil mulligatawny soup, is an Indian inspired dish. So what do I mean by Indian inspired dish? There is a history behind this dish that mulligatawny, the name mulligatawny that is given, is literal translation for pepper water. What the Britishers did when they invaded India was that they picked up flavors like this, like your mulligatawny from down south, and then they made something of their own. So basically what is a mulligatawny is it is pepper water like the translation says, but over here we will be making a masala which is called the mulligatawny masala, and obviously because the Britishers could not pronounce the mulligatawny, it's a Tamil term, okay, because they could not pronounce it, they anglicized it and they made it mulligatawny. Okay, so the spelling, if you look at it, it is actually mulligatawny. Okay, so but if you traditionally look at it, it is supposed to be called as mulligatawny. So over here, the lentils that we'll be using is a masoor dal. Okay, and we'll be using ginger, garlic, onion, green chilies. Okay, and we'll be making a masala out of different ingredients that we'll be showing it to you later. And finally, we will we'll be cooking the masoor dal first. Okay, and adding in all the ingredients to it, then adding in the masala, then pureeing it. So this is basically a puree soup. So basically over here the Madras onions or the shallots which are there are used in abundance. Okay, there is a very there is a good story behind it that when the Britishers were in India, they picked this up, and this soup, instead of featuring more in the United Kingdom or the Great Britain as they call it, it started featuring more in places like Australia, which was again another colony of the Britishers. So that is your lentil mulligatawny soup. Fillet of pomfret meunière. Meunière, the term over here literally means a miller's wife. So basically what we will be doing is, we will be cutting the fillet out of pomfret, then we will be marinating it in salt, white pepper powder and a bit of lime juice. We will marinate the fish for at least 15 to 20 minutes minimum, and fish does not take a lot of time to marinate because it is a very versatile ingredient. Okay, so whatever flavors you put into the fish, especially the fillet, the fish takes in the flavor very fast. So that is why we will be keeping it for 15 to 20 minutes, and always remember that when you marinate meat, okay, you have to keep it inside the refrigerator, especially fish. Fish being a seafood, it is attacked easily by the bacteria that is present in the atmosphere. So that is why we need to make sure that as soon as we marinate the fillet of the fish, we will be putting it back in the refrigerator. Post the marination process, what we do is we will dredge the fish fillet in seasoned flour. This seasoned flour is nothing but your refined flour plus salt and pepper. Okay, the basic reason why we are dredging it in seasoned flour is because of the name meunière, that is the miller's wife. Millers are the one who makes atta, those who own a chakki kind of a thing, yes. So that is why the whole term meunière, that is your miller's wife, and that is why we dredge the fish fillets in flour. Okay, once the fish fillet is dredged in flour, you will take it onto a pan, shallow fry the fish on the pan itself. After the fish is shallow fried, you will take it out after it is cooked, and to the same pan you will be adding in a bit of butter, and we will be making something called as a beurre noisette. This will be the sauce for the fish. So to this brown butter, we will take the butter in a pan and we will brown it up, and to this brown butter we will be adding a bit of lime juice and we will be adding parsley. So that will be your sauce which will go on top of the fish. Always remember one more thing, when you are making a fish preparation, especially ones like meunière, orly, which you will be doing in the further classes, you have to do it a la minute. A la minute means just before service. So if you are ready to serve the guests the main course, then only is the time when you start making the fish preparation. So that is your fillet of pomfret meunière. Okay. The next dish that we are making is a petit pois à la flamande. Petit pois over here literally means is the French word for green peas. Okay. And à la flamande is in the style of Flemish. So a Flemish based salad. So I call it a salad, but it is basically a hot preparation. Okay. So for the petit pois à la flamande, we'll obviously have some green peas, we'll have carrots, we'll have apples, and all these will be tossed in butter and served. The unique thing about petit pois à la flamande is that it has two ingredients. One is a vegetable and it has a fruit as well. So your vegetables, that is your carrot and your green peas, will be cooked first, and then your apples which are there will not be cooked, it will be just cut and tossed in butter. The unique part about petit pois à la flamande is that it has mint as its flavoring. So when we are putting the ingredients to boil, we will add in a little bit of mint in the water, and even in the end while we are tossing it in butter, we will be adding a bit of shredded mint leaves to it. So for the dish to look beautiful, we have to cut the apples and the carrot into macédoine size. So when we are cutting it into macédoine size, it comes in similar size to the green peas that is there. Okay, so we'll blanch the vegetables, that is your carrot and your green peas. You'll take it out, you'll cut the apples with the skin into macédoine, and then towards the end, while you're just before service, you'll take some butter in a pan, you'll add in all the ingredients, toss it up, add a little bit of salt and white pepper powder. This is not a sweet dish, okay, it is a savory preparation. Yes, so that is your petit pois à la flamande. The last thing that we are making is a pomme de terre douche. That is your douche potato. Pomme de terre is a French term for potatoes. So the douche potato, douche is a term which is used in England, wherein douche means the wife of the duke, or a person who holds the rank of douche, that is in level with the duke. So it is said that in history these type of potatoes were preferred by the douches or the duke's wife, and that is why this was being made. So basically what we will do for a douche potato is that we will make a mashed potato, we will be adding in a little bit of beaten egg, and we will be adding in salt and pepper. This mixture will be piped out onto a baking tray into various designs and shapes, and it will be put inside the oven to cook. So what happens while we put it inside the oven is that the whole potato mixture comes together, okay, and there is a good brown color coating or golden color coating on top. So these potatoes are served as it is. So the better the shape, the better the final product you will have. So that is the extensive menu for today that we are making. It is a pretty simple menu, but there are some parts which you have to make sure that you do it properly, like the filling of the fish, like the cooking of the petit pois, that is your peas and your carrot. So these are the points where you need to give importance, especially the butter that we make for Meunier, okay, the beurre noisette that we are going to make. If you take care of all these small things, then your menu will be over and done in 1.5 hours. But you have to be very sure about what you are doing. So now we look at the division of ingredients. Because we have 4 dishes, we have 4 plates. The potatoes go for the potato preparation along with the egg, and then the apple, the carrot, the mint leaves go for your petit pois à la flamande. This is an accompaniment which is a hot accompaniment, as it is already mentioned, and the petit pois, that is the green peas, also goes for the preparation. The curry leaves goes for your lentil multani soup. The parsley and the lemon goes for your beurre noisette for your fish preparation. Tomatoes, onion, ginger and garlic will go for your lentil multani soup. You have to be extremely careful about the amount of ingredients that you use. The lemon also goes for the soup preparation and the shallots as well. This is your red lentil, which is also called as masoor dal, and this is used extensively, and over here, because we are making a lentil multani soup, it will be used for that. Now, as we all know, potatoes take a lot of time to be cooked. We will start with the potatoes first. We will peel the potatoes, cut them up in chunks, and then put them for boiling. We have to ensure that the potatoes are boiled properly, and we have already shown you how to boil the potatoes. We will make boiled potatoes and then we will dry them up and then mash them up using a strainer. This will result in a fine mashed potatoes. You have to wash the potatoes first, put some water and then add some salt for seasoning. Ensure that you have added sufficient salt in this step, because that is how you will ensure that there is equal distribution of salt. Then moving on to the soup preparation. First you will clean the red lentil. You will ensure that there are no dust particles or any unwanted impurities that are present in the red lentil. You will spread them out on the board like this and then ensure that all the dust particles and the impurities are removed. After that is done, it is very essential to wash the red lentils or masoor dal properly under running water. So you will take it into a vessel and with the help of your hands you will mix it up with water and then clean the red lentils.
Ensure that the water does not remain cloudy after you've cleaned the red lentils. You have to clean the red lentils till the time the water is clear. It should look somewhat like this right now. So this red lentil will go for boiling, and these are the ingredients that are used for the Mulugtani masala. The coriander, the jeera, saunf, methi, cinnamon, cloves and peppercorn. This will be roasted, dry roasted on a saucepan and will be powdered. Now moving on to the dry roasting of the masalas, the thing that you have to keep in mind is that because these masalas are less in quantity, it is quite easy to burn the masalas. So please keep the flame on a low to medium, and then with the help of a spatula keep on stirring the masalas around. The problem over here might occur that the smaller masalas, that is your methi seeds, the jeera and the saunf, might start burning. So to ensure that it does not burn, make sure that the flame is on a low and then you keep on stirring it. The dry roasting of masala releases the oils from the spices, and that ensures a very aromatic masala mix that we will be getting towards the end. So once it is dry roasted, you will spread it out onto a plate and let it cool down, and once it is cooled down, then you will powder it. If you powder it right now, there is a possibility that it will form chunks because of the oil that is leached out of the spices. Let it cool down and then powder it up. Now the important thing over here is that we've already shown you the filleting of fish. So now we'll show you how to marinate the fish. So for the marination, you will take some lime juice, some salt and some pepper powder. Always remember, as soon as you have prepped the fish, you will make the marinade, put the fish fillets in the marinade and put it inside the refrigerator. The seafood is very vulnerable to the bacteria attacks, so that is why we have to ensure that it is stored in a proper condition. If you leave it outside in under room temperature, there is a possibility that it might turn bad very soon. So as to ensure that it does not turn bad, we will make the marinade and put the fish inside, and you can keep the fish for anywhere between 20 minutes to 1 hour, because fish is very subtle flavored meat. It takes in all the flavors that are there around. So that is the simple marinade that is used. Now to prep the ingredients for the petit pois à la flamande, like I have already mentioned that we have to cut all the vegetables and the fruit in the macédoine shape. So we will remove the base of the carrot and then we will peel the carrot. Ensure that the carrots are properly peeled. If you do not peel the carrots properly, then there is a possibility that the peel of the carrot might fall into the dish, which we do not want. As usual, we will square up the carrots. Once the carrots are squared up, we can ensure that we get uniform size pieces. Always make sure you have a sharp knife on you, because if you do not have a sharp knife, the cut of the vegetable will not be properly done. Cut the carrots up into macédoine, that is 1 centimeter cubes. This is done because the green peas that you have is similar in size. So that is why, to ensure that the whole dish looks nice and similar, we are cutting it up into macédoine. Now we'll go and check on our masoor dal. To that we'll add some chopped onions, chopped ginger garlic and some chopped tomatoes. We will also be adding chopped green chilies to it. Here we have to ensure that we are adding all the ingredients in a smaller cut, because we want the ingredients to cook properly so that the dal and the ingredients cooks together properly. Once the dal and the ingredients cook together, they give out a very good flavor, and that ensures that the end product is flavorful. Here you have to keep in mind that we are not using shallots inside the soup, rather we will be using the shallots as the garnish. The shallots will be sliced and it will be fried in oil. Now we will be adding a bit of turmeric to give it a color and a bit of flavor, and then we will be mixing it up again and cooking it furthermore. Here we have to ensure that we do not add in a lot of turmeric, because a lot of turmeric can discolor the whole soup. We do not want unnecessary turmeric presence in it. Add in a bit more water if you feel that the water in the soup is less. Now you can see that we are boiling the carrots for the petit pois à la flamande. This is the degree to which you need to boil the carrots and the petit pois also, that is the green peas. Once you see that the ingredients have disintegrated or rather cooked, you will add in the made mulligatani masala that we had dry roasted before and powdered it up. Ensure to add sufficient masala because this is what will give the flavor to the whole dish. You have to also ensure that you do not add in more masala and make the soup unnecessarily spicy. Add in salt at this point. Once the ingredients are cooked, you can put it for pureeing, and you have to puree the soup and keep it aside to be finished later. Now we move on to the finishing of the Duchess potatoes. Like you already have seen the mashed potatoes, now to this we will be adding our seasoning, that is the salt, some white pepper powder, that is the flavoring, and nutmeg, a pinch of it for giving a more good vibrant flavor to the whole dish. Once you've added all these ingredients, ensure that you mix it up properly, and then to this dish we will be adding eggs. Eggs act as a binding as well as it gives the richness to the whole dish. One thing you have to ensure when you're making the Duchess potatoes is that the eggs that you're adding in should be beaten properly, because if you do not beat the eggs properly, the egg white in the egg mixture will go in the potato mixture and it will leave white streaks. In the same case, even the yolk will leave some yellow streaks. So ensure that you have beating the eggs properly. This will ensure that the egg is distributed uniformly in the potato mixture. Mix it up with a spatula, because the spatula is one of the tools which is very easy to be used in the kitchen, and it can be used in literally anything and everything. Mix the eggs up. Approximately half a kilo of potato will take anywhere between half to 3/4 of egg. It depends on the moisture that is left behind after you boil the potatoes. Make sure that you do not add in too much egg. Then what will happen is when you are putting the potatoes for baking, it will start running out. Okay, this is the consistency that we need to maintain for the Duchess potatoes. Once this consistency is reached, we will put the potatoes in a piping bag and we will pipe out rosettes and pyramid to make the Duchess potatoes. Now we will take the pie dish and you will grease it with oil, because if you do not grease it with oil, what will happen is that the potatoes will stick to the bottom and this will start burning very fast as soon as it goes inside the oven. Place a clean duster underneath the pie dish to ensure that the pie dish does not move when you are piping out the potatoes. So now this is one of the way how you can pipe out the potato. Ensure there are no gaps in between, because if there are gaps, then the potatoes will not turn out good. And this is the other way in which you can pipe the potatoes. These are the two designs you can make for the Duchess potatoes or pomme de terre Duchess. Now to give it a more vibrant golden color, we will be coating it with egg wash before we put it for baking. So we will take the egg that is left out, and then using a brush we will be lightly putting the egg wash on top of the potatoes. Ensure that you do not spoil the shape or the design of the potatoes, because that is what is the star of this dish. Now once the eggs have been put on top of the potatoes, this will go for baking inside the oven at 180 degrees centigrade for 10 to 15 minutes. Now we move on to finishing of the petit pois à la flamande. Always remember, the apples for the petit pois à la flamande will be cut at the last moment. This dish has to be made à la minute, that is at the last moment, because if you cut the apples and keep it aside, it will start oxidizing and it will start turning brown. Apples also have to be of the similar size of the carrots. As you can see on the plate, I have already cooked the carrots and the peas, that's why I put them together. Over here, after you cut the apples, you can put them together with the carrots and the peas. Because it is anyways going to be mixed up later, it can be kept together, but this has to be done at the last moment. If you do it beforehand, then the apples will turn black or brown, and then when you are tossing it up in butter, it will start to mash up and the whole dish will turn mushy. So ensure that you cut the apples during the end. Over here I had mentioned during the briefing that you can use the mint leaves for the boiling purpose as well. I do not want to use the mint leaves, they are optional. You can use it while boiling the carrots and the peas, or you can put it in the butter towards the end so that it gives a more vibrant flavor. I prefer to put it in the butter towards the end, because when you're shredding up the mint leaves and adding it to the dish, it gives a different kind of color to the dish and at the same time the flavor of the mint remains fresh. So that is why I did not put any mint leaves while boiling the carrot and the green peas. It is all up to you. You can choose to put the mint leaves in the beginning or at the end or both. Over here, as you can see, there is very minimal wastage that is occurring. That is because I did not remove the core of the apples, rather I cut around the seeds. Ensure that there are no seeds, because finding the seed in a dish is a very bad thing, especially when it is apples. Now shred the mint leaves. You do not need to chop them up fine, because if you chop them up fine they will start turning black in color due to oxidization. Shred it up roughly and then you can use it for adding it in the petit pois a la flamande. Now for the finishing of the petit pois a la flamande, we will be taking only butter for this dish, because if you add in oil it will give a kind of an odd flavor to the whole dish, and butter keeps this dish quite rich. So after the butter is melted, you will add in all the vegetables and the fruit together, that is the apple, and then toss it up for less than 30 seconds. You do not want to cook the apples too much, because if you cook the apples too much, what will happen is the apples will turn mushy. You just have to coat everything with butter, and as the carrots and the peas are already cooked, you do not have to cook them for a long period of time in the saucepan. As soon as all the ingredients are coated with the butter, you can add in the shredded mint leaves at this point. And make sure that you season and flavor your dish properly. You have to add in also the salt and the white pepper powder. Do not keep stirring it for a longer period of time, because then the apples will start cooking and it will turn mushy. Add salt to taste and white pepper powder to taste. Mix it up properly, and once it's mixed up properly, you can switch off the flame and then you can keep it ready for service. You just have to mix it all up together to ensure that the butter coats the whole dish together properly and the flavor of the mint is equally distributed. Now we will be finishing off the fillet of pomfret meunier. For that you will need seasoned flour. Seasoned flour is refined flour or maida with your salt and white pepper powder. You have to mix it up properly to ensure that the salt and the white pepper powder is equally distributed amongst the whole flour. One unique thing about using the fish is that before you put it in the seasoned flour, you have to pat it dry using a clean dry duster. This has to be an unused duster, because if you have used the duster before for anything else, there will be bacteria on it and it will attack the seafood. So after you've used a clean dry duster to pat the fillet dry, you will put it in the seasoned flour and coat it like this properly. And remove the excess flour, because you do not want the flour to stick to the base of the tawa or the pan in which you are going to cook the fillet and start burning. You will do it with the 4 fillets and you will keep it aside for sauteing. Now for the beurre noisette and the garnish that we are going to give for the fillet of pomfret meunier, you will cut the wedges of lemon. So over here from 1 lemon you get 3 wedges, and the middle part will be used for making the beurre noisette. If you feel that there is less of juice in the middle part, you can use one of the wedges and 2 can be given for service. Along with this you have some chopped parsley as well. Now on a well tempered pan you will take some oil and then you will put your fillet for frying. Have to ensure that you do not burn the fillet. Keep it on a medium flame and ensure that you do not keep on flipping the fillets, because if you keep on flipping the fillets, what will happen is it will start to break and your fillet of pomfret meunier will not be made properly. So give it a good 1 minute on each side, okay, and then try and flip it if it has turned brown. Always remember that fillet is a no bone no skin piece of meat. So what happens is that the cooking time required by the fillet of fish is very less. It will take you anywhere between 4 to 5 minutes to cook a fillet of this size. So ensure that you are keeping the flame on a medium and not on a high, because if you keep it on a high, there is a possibility that the outer part of the fillet will start burning and the inside part remains raw. Make sure you give it a good brown color, like you can see over here, a golden brown color, and then you can remove it off the flame. Transfer it onto another plate without any tissue or anything under it. Now for making the beurre noisette, you will melt the butter in a pan and wait for it to turn brown. Be very careful because there is a thin line between the butter burning and the butter being brown in color. As soon as the butter melts, keep it on the flame for a few seconds, and it will start turning brown. You will get a very good nutty aroma from this, and as soon as you see that the butter has started browning, you will add in your chopped parsley and your lime juice. You have to be very careful and very fast, because if you delay it even by a few seconds, it will start burning. So as soon as the butter turns brown, add in the parsley leaves that is chopped and kept, and add in the lime juice. As soon as you add in the lime juice, it will stop the cooking of the butter to a certain extent, but you have to also be very careful. Now this is your beurre noisette, which is ready for serving along with the fillet of pomfret meunière. Now for the finishing of the soup, it is a very important process that you adjust the consistency of the puree, and then you add in some coconut milk. This coconut milk gives the flavor to the whole dish, and once this coconut milk is added to the soup, you cannot put it directly onto the flame. So after this coconut milk is added, you will keep it on a double boiler, adjust the seasoning if required, and adjust the consistency properly. Keep it on a double boiler till the time it becomes hot, and just before service, you will transfer it onto a soup bowl and serve it. Now for serving of this lentil multani soup, you will take a soup bowl, first pour in the soup, the hot soup which we have kept in on a double boiler, and then to that we will be adding some boiled rice. The garnish for this dish is very unique because it's an Indian preparation. You can see very vibrant Indian ingredients that are being used as garnish. So over here first we will be adding some boiled rice, normal boiled rice, and then to this we will be adding some shallots. These shallots are sliced and are browned in oil. You can saute them or you can deep fry them as well. And then we have some deep fried curry leaves. This will give a good flavor texture to the whole dish, and it gives out a very vibrant taste to the whole dish. This is your lentil mulakatani soup, which is ready for service. So here is the menu for today: the lentil mulakatani, the Duchess potatoes, the fillet of pomfret meunière, and petit pois à la flamande.